In ancient Roman warfare, the testudo was a type of shield wall formation, commonly used by Roman legions during battles and sieges. In the testudo formation, Roman legionaries would align their shields in front of them and above their heads to form a packed defensive unit. They would march towards a particular target in unison, and once complete, their shields looked like a tortoise shell, translating to the Latin term testudo. The first row of men would hold their shields from about the height of their shins to their eyes, as to cover the formation's front guard. All the men in the deeper ranks would place their shields over their heads to protect them from the enemies above. During sieges, defending tribes would situate themselves high on walls and launch projectiles towards invading enemies. The testudo was designed to undermine the advantage of enemy walls because it provided great defensive protection from enemies above. The shields were fitted so closely together so there were no spaces between them. The shields were so strong and firm that men, horses, and chariots could be driven over them without any damage. In some instances, the legionnaires on the sides and rear of the formation could stand sideways or backwards to protect the formation's sides and rear. While this was quite effective, it did reduce the speed and mobility of the formation, but offered consistent defensive strength against opposing infantry, arrows, and missile attacks. Sometimes the shields were held in such a way to make the testudo slope. The soldiers in the first line of the ranks stood upright, those in the second stooped a little, and each successive line would stoop a little bit lower than the preceding one, where the soldiers rested on one knee. This was called the fustiggiata testudo. In the end, the testudo would slope like a roof of a building. When stones and missiles were launched off enemy walls, the projectiles would roll off the shields like water. This allowed the legions to advance towards the enemy without delay or damage. The testudo was used by the famous Roman politician Mark Antony in the year 36 BC against the Parthians, whereby the testudo helped the Romans fend off enemy arrow and missile attacks. While the testudo was very effective during the Roman Republic and Roman Empire, it was not invincible. During the Battle of Carrhae against the Parthians, Parthian heavy cavalry and horse archers were able to strike down Roman soldiers while in the testudo. This would happen when the legions were focused on protecting themselves from missiles and arrows, leaving them vulnerable to cavalry attack. While the testudo was very effective and popular during the Roman Republic, it continued into the Eastern Roman Empire and was even adopted by competing powers like the Carolingian Frankish soldiers and the medieval Arab world.